Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for taking this time out to join us for this virtual session. Over the course of today's session, we will be launching what we call WNS Care Foundation's CyberSmart portal nationally. This is WNS's gift to India and fellow citizens in our endeavor to make cyberspace safer, especially for the children and youth. A little later in the session, we have lined up an exciting fireside chat with none other than the HDFC chairman, Mr. Deepak Parekh. I now invite President of NASSCOM, Debjani Ghosh, to deliver the opening address.
Thank you so much, Keshav, and good afternoon, everyone. Hope everybody is staying safe, staying healthy. Please do look after yourselves in these tremendously trying times for all. Since the lockdown was announced, and I am losing count of days, I can't even remember when it got announced, but a few months back, whenever the lockdown got announced, the IT industry, an industry that I have always respected, that I belong to. It's an industry I grew up in. It's an industry that I call my family. And it's an industry that I've always had tremendous amount of respect for. That industry just stood up and stood out from everyone else in the way it said that, okay, we are going to ensure that everyone can stay home, stay safe, and life will still continue. Whether it is work, whether it is play, whether it is learn, the IT industry really came together to ensure that from network to services, everything continued to keep running in these very, very difficult times. And keep in mind, we had bare minimum people on ground because as an industry, our first priority was to our employees. Our first priority was to ensure that our employees stay safe. So the industry went through a tremendous challenge, moving over 4 million people to work from home. And then working with partners, working with government to ensure that no matter what, we were able to continue delivering those critical services that were absolutely required to ensure that you staying in the safety of your home can continue to live your life. And the industry, which I've always been very proud of, just made me so much more proud. I am so happy that I belong to this industry, and that industry has continued to inspire, continued to give me hope, and it has continued to show the way on how leaders must behave in this difficult time. Not only has the industry come together and ensured that the digital model of doing things continue, whether it is how we work, how we play, how we learn, but companies are now coming together and figuring out, okay, if half of the world or more than half of the world is now digital, how do we ensure that they get the best experience possible? How do we ensure that they get the most secure experience possible? And in that spirit, I will say kudos to WNS Foundation for caring enough to take out the time and the effort to come out with such an important initiative. Today, millions and millions of kids all over the world are learning from home. Schools are closed. All over the world, schools are closed. Millions of kids are learning from home. While the internet is a very, very informative, educational platform, it also can be tremendously concerning, especially if you do not know what the risks are involved. And sadly, not only the kids, but a lot of parents and also a lot of teachers who have not used technology to a large possible extent are not aware of the risks involved. So I'm really happy as NASSCOM to support such a wonderful initiative that is taking to every single household, to every single parent, to every single teacher, to every single child, and creating awareness about how you can stay safe and ensure that you have the best digital experience possible. So this is a tremendously important initiative, especially for the young ones in the country. And to Keshav and Shamini, you guys have always cared tremendously about India, about ensuring that Indians have the right digital experience. And my heartfelt thanks to both of you for doing this and for ensuring that the young Indians who are now learning how to cope with the digital world can do it in a safe and secure manner. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Debjani. And once again, let me thank you personally, as well as the entire NASSCOM team, for being a supporting partner to this portal, this very important portal. Thank you very much for that. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Harish Mehta, whom we fondly call as Harish Bhai, founder and executive chairman, Onward Technologies, founding member and first elected chairman of NASSCOM, to share his thoughts on the role of CSR in building a cyber-safe environment.
First of all, thank you, Shamini. Thank you, Keshav, for inviting me to come in here and share my views. So I see Mr. Deepak Parekh also joining us. Welcome, Deepak. Glad to have you here. Friends, the way I see it, this pandemic has given us an opportunity to reimagine digital India. The digital India that we want to build, the massive digitalization awareness, along with current technologies, has the potential to solve India's toughest social or business problems. To me, it is a time for all of us to go for a full throttle, aggressive investment in adopting digitalization, be it in new products, be it in new factories, be it in new industries, and also in new science. Just see the way our young children who have access to computers have adopted online schools. I mean, I don't think any futurists would have predicted that in such a short period, millions and millions of children would learn how to use computers. Even my granddaughter, she is 8, and during the pandemic, she picked up block language, programming in block. Now, this block language has a base of Java. So for each block behind that, she can see the Java code. She doesn't write Java language, but she started doing programming at a block level, which I had a tough time, frankly, doing programming at the age of 21. Now she has picked up at the age of 8. That shows the real digital potential of India in the coming years. And as Debjani just said, there is a huge challenge in terms of once they are exposed to computers. We have cyber predators, cyber bullies, phishing, all kinds of cyber threats would be around them. And they, unfortunately, they work with a smartphone or iPad, and now they have access when nobody's monitoring them, very difficult to supervise them. So it's a huge challenge in front of us. And it's a bigger challenge for us when we have 70% of Indians who don't have access to computers. And in their children are equally vulnerable to cyber threats. So one of the suggestions I have for corporate CSR is to get employees motivated and trained to go out in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities and make the underprivileged children to become cyber aware. And that's a very, we at NASSCOM, Debjani, you may not, you remember that 12 years back, we had come up with a scheme by which the refurbished used computers were sent to tier 2 and tier 3 cities by our employees. So used computers were coming out, by getting refurbished, and then employees would take it to the tier 2 and tier 3 cities to create awareness about computers. So similarly here, we need to work at protecting our children from cyber threat. Apart from that, of course, there are many other suggestions that can be put forward. in terms of, let's say, how do you leverage the corporate capabilities of CSR? Like any solution or development of cyber safety tools would require multi-domain, multi-technology expertise, and this expertise would be available as in pockets of excellences. I believe it is the corporate CSR's job to leverage their corporate abilities in forging such partnership so such cyber safety tools can be developed. Like what WNS's cyber portal is one such example done in partnership. Similarly, many more such initiatives had to be taken. And finally, I only one simple suggestion is to think big. I'm going back to 30 years back when NASSCOM was just started. We met the DOE secretary, Mr. Vittal, and that time we must be around $50, $60 million top line. And we said we have a vision for $1 billion. And he said, young team, do you know how many zeros are in a billion? So that is the kind of big thinking we need to do and deliver. We not only delivered $1 billion, we deliver even $50 billion, and today we are at $80 billion. So that's the kind of goal we all should set it up, saying, can we make India cyber safe by so and so time? I even remember Prime Minister saying, can we make the world cyber safe? What can we contribute there? So that's the kind of potential we have, and that's where I see the corporate should be putting in the efforts in that direction. And again, I wish the cyber portal a great success story. All the best to WNS Care Foundation, and it's a highly commendable objective. And finally, I would say I wishing all children, irrespective of their privilege, a safe and empowering digital journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Harish Bhai. Now I would like to invite Shamini Murugesh, Honorary Chief Mentor of WNS Cares Foundation, to introduce the CyberSmart platform and also share with us how she and her team envisioned this particular platform.
Thank you, Keshav. And good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. Mr. Parekh, thank you. Harish Bhai, thank you so much for being here and sharing your thoughts. What you actually said resonates so very well with the recent webinar that we hosted on cyber security education for children. We had about 1,200 active participants on that particular webinar. And after the webinar, I had a friend who called me and said, you know, my son is being cyber bullied, as are 2-3 of his friends. The reason I shared the story with you is that we don't realize how close actually a cyber attack or a cyber bullying attack could be to us and to our children as well. And over the past couple of months, we've all moved towards digital platforms, as have children particularly, and we've moved at lightning speed. Unfortunately, what has happened is that cybersecurity education has not kept pace. And that's where we hope the WNS Cares Foundation CyberSmart portal will help bridge that gap. Just to speak a little about the portal itself. So it's an online free educational platform. It's available in English, Hindi, Marathi, and Telugu at this point of time. And we're planning to add 7 more languages in the next couple of weeks. The uniqueness of this portal is that it uses a gamification model to address a very serious subject, but to make learning fun. And we have included people, students can, of course, participate in the portal, as well as parents, teachers, and principals. The reason for including everyone is the fact that the issue at hand is not one-dimensional. It has to be addressed and approached with a 360-degree perspective. And some of the contents that we have on the portal are, topics of course, cyberbullying, but we also have how to be safe, in terms of social media interaction, also with respect to phishing and even financial security online. At this point of time, I'd like to thank our knowledge partners, Responsible Netizen. Thank you, Sonali and Unmesh, for your valuable inputs in ensuring that the cyber portal is what we envisioned it to be. In the past few years, WNS Cares Foundation, we have been focusing on cybersecurity awareness. And in this journey, we actually were able to teach and educate 150,000 children across the globe in 12 countries how to be cyber safe. We had actually put up just a couple of very simple videos which had almost 1 million views on YouTube. And the reason why we came up with the CyberSmart portal is when we went through this entire exercise, the learnings that we got out of it is that we needed a curriculum that's more structured, deeper, as well as more robust. I request all of you to go through the portal and to take it out to all your networks to ensure that we create cyber smart zones for our children. And before I end, I'd like to thank Debjani and NASSCOM for coming forward so enthusiastically and joining us in this initiative and walking with us in this journey. Thank you, everyone. Over to you, Keshav.
Thank you, Shamini. Now we move to the national launch of CyberSmart. Due to an exigency, Shri Ajay Prakash Soni, the Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India, has not been able to join us physically today. However, I will be reading his quote to launch the CyberSmart portal nationwide. His quote: "I am very happy to note that WNS Cares Foundation has launched a free-for-all gamified learning platform, CyberSmart, for children and youth to spread awareness around cyber safety and supported by NASSCOM. As millions of children across the nation are increasingly accessing the internet for online learning due to COVID, I am sure the deployment and adoption of smarter cybersecurity measures like CyberSmart is the need of the hour. This portal is very much in line with our mission to create safe cyber environment for every citizen of the country, especially our children and youth. I am delighted to partner and launch CyberSmart portal at a national level." That's how the portal looks for the information of everyone. On behalf of WNS and WNS Cares Foundation, I am really thankful to Mr. Soni and the Government of India for partnering with us on the CyberSmart journey. I once again thank you, Debjani, and NASSCOM, as well as Harish Bhai, for sharing your thoughts with us today. I hope that the CyberSmart portal will bring about a seismic shift in the approach towards cybersecurity in the country. Thank you all for attending the national launch of CyberSmart.